So, Assassin's Creed Origins just got another trailer at Gamescom 2017, and this one is called the Game of Power trailer, and it's something of a story trailer. So why don't we take a look and see what we can find in this trailer with a sweet analysis. Right, let's go again. So why don't we take a look with a sweet analysis. And I just want to say before we get started that it seems as if there is quite a fair bit in this trailer, so buckle up lads, and without further ado, let's begin. So the trailer starts with Bayek on a horse being confronted by Romans with spears, I'd imagine. That's what they look like, given that they're dressed in red and their helmet shape. Clearly Bayek is about to kill someone or already has killed someone important to them. Here we see Bayek killing someone, and in the background that fire is incredibly orange and it looks really nice, just wanted to say. And then in the next shot we see elephants. That's really cool. Is this the first time we've seen elephants in any game footage or anything? It's cool, whatever, they look nice. In the next shot we see a man who I'd say is probably Julius Caesar and an unidentified person talking. And in the next shot I believe that unidentified person is revealed, and I'd probably assume that it's Cleopatra. So Caesar and Cleopatra are allies, which they were. Then we get a nice little shot of the desert area and some water and a city, and then we see this guy who I'd assume is probably the pharaoh that we actually see in the CGI cinematic trailer. So I'd assume that this guy would probably die early on if that is the case, considering that in the cinematic trailer he dies and is then mummified. But that's just speculation on my part. Here we see what I would assume is the arena in which Bayek can fight in. It does look very Romanesque, but that makes sense because the Romans are present. And if you didn't know that the Romans are present, you are probably sure that they are now.
Every last Roman in Alexandria.
First of all, this pharaoh-like guy is incredibly short, considering that Caesar was only recorded as being 5 feet and 7 inches in height. And second of all, he definitely does not like Romans, so there is going to be some Roman-Egyptian conflict going on quite clearly. But Julius Caesar's expression is very uncaring. It's like he really doesn't care, but then again that is going off a frame. He looks like he's got a smirk going on there. He's like, you try it, you little Jack Russell Terrier. And on the left we can have who we can assume is Cleopatra again. Considering that we see Julius Caesar and Cleopatra meet in private, maybe they're conspiring together against this short little pharaoh guy, maybe, who knows. Which again is just speculation on my part, take it with a pinch of salt. Here we see Bayek walking through a large entrance towards the camera. And considering this trailer and what it gives us, I'd imagine that in some amount, small or big, Bayek is mixed up with Cleopatra and Julius Caesar in some way at least. Here we see a masked one, like the one that we see in the cinematic trailer. I'd say this is probably the same character. At this point, I'd probably assume that this guy is a slightly major antagonist. Maybe not the main antagonist, but he's definitely one of them. Given the head shape of the statue of the severed head and the Egyptian statue behind it, I'd imagine this is to emphasize that conflict between the Egyptians and the Romans. Or maybe just this specific part of Egypt. I don't know the history around this time period too well.
The exiled queen Cleopatra thirsts for power.
From what I can gather from that, it seems as if Cleopatra is somewhat power hungry, which might explain why she is later killed by an assassin, presumably.
We have informants in each region.
Here we see Bayek meeting with Cleopatra and then saying we have informants in each region, which means that Cleopatra is helping Bayek kill people. So like I said before, Bayek is clearly mixed up with Cleopatra and Julius Caesar. Now I don't know who this is in what looks like an Anubis mask, but I wouldn't imagine that it's Bayek. It could be like an outfit or something, but if it's not, then this guy probably isn't very friendly. For this guy who's embracing Cleopatra seems to be, I'd probably say Roman, or maybe even Greek, but I do believe purple was worn by those with power in ancient Rome. Then again, I don't know this history too well, but that's just an observation.
Time for assassinations.
So Cleopatra just said it is time for assassinations, so clearly she's sending Bayek to start killing people. Do I think this means that Bayek will be answering to Cleopatra for the entire game? Probably not. But then again, Cleopatra was presumably killed by an assassin, so it would make sense if Bayek were to sever his ties with Cleopatra before he founded the Brotherhood. And this is where we see Julius Caesar, who seems to have come with an army. You can clearly see cultural differences from where they are and how they're standing and what they're wearing to Egyptians and other shots of Egypt. I'd probably assume that these Roman soldiers are intending to invade somewhere, perhaps a region of Egypt that's very anti-Roman. Like we've seen before, it seems as if there is going to be that conflict there. Here we see a Tyrrhene ramming another Tyrrhene. It looks like maybe we'll be able to use the Tyrrhenes if we so wish, but that's again just speculation, probably not a thing. But to me, that camera angle is very suggestive in a way. And as already confirmed, there is a little bit of naval in Assassin's Creed Origins, and this is probably what's meant by a little bit. Here we see Cleopatra and Julius Caesar stood with a bearded Bayek. Wait, no, that's not Bayek. Here we see Bayek and Julius Caesar standing side by side amid a lot of destruction by the looks of it. Now I'd say this probably confirms that they'll be working together for at least some of the game. Now I'd probably say this is Bayek, and he seems to have a scar on his face as well. Now we know he has the lip scar, but I didn't realise there was a scar going right down past his nose and his eye. So maybe he gets this scar later in the game, or I need to pay more attention. Here we see what looks like a chariot race, maybe considering that we see Bayek attached to a chariot there, that means that we'll be able to participate in them. This is really cool to watch. It looks very brutal, so Bayek's got a very brutal fighting style. Here we see Bayek approach some idol of sorts. Maybe he's going to raid the tomb that might be here or something. That might make sense. In this shot we see Bayek with some woman, so maybe he has a love interest in the game, but considering how it's not marketed at all and it's mentioned in passing like in this trailer, it makes me think that it won't be too major in the game. So unlike the Arno Elise love story in Assassin's Creed Unity, this one won't be too major in the story, but it will be present. Here we see Bayek in a boss fight by the looks of it. And the big guy, it looks both massive and incredibly deadly. And finally we see Bayek standing facing an army charging at him. And I'd imagine that's too many soldiers even for Bayek, but hey. But there you have it everybody, that is my analysis, looking at everything that I can in this trailer. Of course, there's always more. Please go ahead and let me know if there's anything that I've missed. I'm sure there is. But all in all, I really like this trailer. I take it it's something of a story trailer for Assassin's Creed Origins, and it definitely helps get me excited for the game. But thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, share, comment, and I will see you all in the next one with another video at some point.